All about games. It's games junkie Gerard Campbell from stuff.co.nz.
Let's play tonight.
I feel eyes on us. We could be here right now and we might not even know.
I did not choose this path.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
It was chosen for me.
You and your collaborators are sentenced to death.
You are hearing the sounds of Assassin's Creed 2. It is the game review today with Gerard Campbell, our game junkie at stuff.co.nz. Gerard, hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, Assassin's Creed 2. Now, obviously, the second in the series. Have you played the first one at all?
Yeah, I did play the first one. The first one I enjoyed. I mean, it was a similar premise, but in the first one you played sort of a medieval time, sort of a Middle Eastern assassin called Altair, who, as assassins do, had to stealthily attack or, kill specific targets. And visually and graphically, it was just a stunning game because, as assassins can do, they climb lots of things. You're able to climb incredibly tall towers, and look at over these huge cities, and it was incredible. But the gameplay got very repetitive. So I think it was a very, very good game, but it was just flawed. And after playing through Assassin's Creed, and I'm working my way through it, it sounds like the developers Ubisoft have really listened to the criticisms that fans have given, and it's actually a lot more open-ended, and it's really fixed those things that the first one suffered from, really. Yeah, it's just much, much improved.
How similar is this to Batman Arkham Asylum that you reviewed just a few weeks ago now?
Excuse me, clear my throat. It's not as... I mean, Batman Arkham Asylum is a very dark game, so it's very gritty, with mental patients running out around asylums and that sort of thing. But the combat is perhaps not as free-flowing as Batman could do, but I think in terms of acrobatic ability, the new character that you play, Ezio Auditore, who's he's a son of an Italian, one of the great Italian families, and his father gets it, and it's a game that it's the interesting twist from the first one was that you played it for a bit and then suddenly realised that the action that you were taking place was actually through the DNA memories of a character called Desmond Miles, and he was sitting on this machine called an Animus, which probes into his mind, and he was descended from this assassin Altair, and now he's also descended from Ezio. So getting back to the Batman Arkham Asylum, I think in terms of being able to climb things, yes, it's on par with that, but I think the game is a lot more open and there's a lot more exploration that you can do. And yeah, it's just that you'll get a lot more hours out of it, and I think it's a really solid, really good open world game. Those games that yes, you've got main missions that you can do, assassinate Joe or assassinate Jeff, but you can actually spend a lot of time doing side missions, pickpocketing people, or you can it's really, really cleverly well done, and you can there's money boxes that you can find, and you can find feathers dotted around. I mean, you visit Tuscany, Florence, and Venice, and they look beautiful. I mean, I've never been to these places, but you almost feel as though you're actually in the Renaissance 15th century Italy. It's it's got that feel about it. But whereas a lot of games, and the first one suffered from this as well, that you had to do the main specific missions when the game said you had to do them.
Yeah.
With this one, you can do the main missions when you want, So if you've done a main mission and then you want to go off and collect a whole lot of feathers, or if you want to go and search, there are 6 assassin's tombs in the game that you have got to search through and to find parts of a seal, which I think belong, they create something to do with Altair, who was the first assassin, and then once you've collected all those, then it unlocks some of the stuff that he's got. But there is a whole lot of stuff that you can do, so you can deviate from your main mission, then once you're satisfied with that, you can go back and do your main mission. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff for you to do here.
What would you imagine the learning curve is like for someone just getting into this game? I mean, how easy are the controls?
I'd say it's actually pretty easy to get into because the learning curve wouldn't be difficult at all. Because a lot of games, as they do now, they have, it has a good tutorial system. I mean, obviously, those that are familiar with the first game will get used to the mechanics of it. And as the game progresses, they introduce you to more complex moves. So when you first start, you've got, and the very first opening level of this game is that when you play, you see Ezio get born as a baby, and that's how they introduce you to what's called I think it's called a puppets or a puppeteer movement system, and it shows if you press Y, you'll move the baby's head, and if you press B, you'll move its legs. So that introduces you to the sort of individual limb movements, and then as they progress, they add more, and then early on in the game, you get introduced to your uncle, and then he introduces you to more complex combat moves, like being able to disarm opponents during combat and how to dodge moves and how to do counter blows. So it's progressively and it's gently introduces you to those techniques, and then by the mid part of the game, you're actually able to jump a lot higher, reach higher places, so you can actually get those high tall towers that you weren't able to get to in the beginning of the game. So I mean, I think the learning curve is very gentle, and it will, if you're new to the series, it will gently introduce you to the things that you need to do. Because
in one instance where my eyes would sort of glaze over is if it introduced anything like combo moves. As soon as a fighting game says, oh, you go Y, X, 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 there, I just like it. Nah, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these, these huge fighting games like Tekken and those sort of things, it's X, 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 Y, Y, B, B, and you've got 22 different combinations, and I'm a bit like, I struggle to think, for those sorts of things, I tend to button mash a lot. Whereas with the Assassin's Creed 2, I mean, if you, I'm playing the Xbox 360 version, so you use the left trigger to lock onto a target. So once you're locked onto the target, you lock, so then you just need to use your left stick to move around, and then, if they take a blow, you pull the right trigger, which does a block, and then if you hit B, then you can, he'll move around and disarm them. So it's a fairly, it's only maybe a 1 or 2 button combination thing, and I think that's helping with the accessibility. Yeah, there's nothing worse than having, really good action, but then you've got to do 42 button presses to actually pull off something decent, and that actually that frustrates a lot of people when you have to have that sort of thing. Yeah.
So how would you estimate how far away you are from finishing this one?
Oh, look, I don't know. I've it's really hard to tell. I mean, I'm really progressing my way through, and I've probably been playing for 10, 11 hours probably.
Yeah.
And I did hear that that if you do everything, you've got 20 plus hours. So I'm still working. I've been to Florence and I've been to Tuscany, and I'm now working my way through Venice again. So and you can travel between the cities as well. There are travel stations, but you pay 100 florins and you can travel back to your cities. And I mean I think that they've really done my Italian history isn't that great, but they've seemed to have really put the work in, because the city seems with what you would expect a Renaissance Italian city to be like, and Venice looks just absolutely wonderful. And you meet up with Leonardo da Vinci, a young Leonardo da Vinci, and as part of your quest, you're picking up pieces called a codex, which is what Desmond Miles, the original guy, will help solve the mystery, because the story involves the Templar Order, so they're this big super bad order, and you take these codex pages to Leonardo da Vinci, and he decipher some of those, and that's how you upgrade your weapons. So you've got your retractable blades that come out for your stealth kills, and I've just managed to get now a little hidden pistol. So it's just those sorts of little touches that I think
keep
will
you going,
extend.
keep you interested.
They keep you going. Well, I mean, it's much like I think games like Uncharted turn that this is when you get a game that you get hooked on it and you play it, and then suddenly you think, how is it? Heck, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I really need to stop playing and get to bed. But then you do it the next night, because it's a compelling, and I think it's probably one of the last biggies for the year. And I think Ubisoft have done them proud with this one. It's just an all out, and with the free running too. Once you get that linked together, you can actually bound across the rooftops, jumping from building to building, really seamlessly, and that adds to the combat. If you do a jump from high, you can lock onto a target and get a target from a height. So it's just really, really works well together.
Cool. Well, the game is Assassin's Creed 2. What platforms, Gerard?
Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. I believe the only two platforms. I don't think it is on PC.
Right.
I'm not sure about that one, but certainly 360 and PlayStation 3.
Excellent. Well, you'll find more written on the Game Junkie blog up at stuff.co.nz. And you can also find Gerard is on Twitter as well, twitter.com/GameJunkieNZ. Until next time.
Thank you very much.
We'll catch you.